Okay, so good morning to everyone. From today onwards, your new session class of my subject will be started. So basically, I will take the computer organization and architecture, this subject, and I think you have get the syllabus of this subject already because Arijit sir already shared the syllabus with you. So in this syllabus, if you see that there are if there is already six module present in this computer organization and architecture, the total six module is present. And this is basically theoretical subject. There is not much the in this subject, you will see that will be the six modules, and first module will consist the basics of digital electronics. So basically, these modules, basics of digital electronics, I think everyone has done in the third semester. I think for that the multiplexer concept, demultiplexer concept, then decoder and encoder, codes, logic gate, flip flops, all of this you have done in the third semester in the digital electronics, I think. So I will not cover that, and if there is the time will remain, then I will cover that portion. Otherwise, I will not cover because these things I know that you have already done in the class previously. So we will start from the module one, second register transfer and micro operation, because this is the new concept you have to be know. So this will be the new concept. So I will start from there, that register transfer and micro operations. So first we will start from the module one, register transfer and micro operations, bus and memory transfer. Then we will move to logic micro operations. So basically, computer organization and architecture is the our how to organize and what are the architecture present, what are the architecture present in the computer. We will know that how the hardware worked, or all the input output modules, input output organization, all the concept and the basic computer organization we will see one by one in the classes. Okay, so this is the syllabus you will see. So one by one, we will cover all the modules. And so first, today we will start from the bus concept. What is the bus and the bus transfer mechanism? We will start on today. So let's start the concept of the bus architecture. So this is the first thing, that what the bus is. We know that this is the bus and what the bus specifies. Now, bus is basically what? It is the communication pathway. Bus is basically a communication pathway, or we can say it is connecting the two or more devices. So in a computer, there are many devices present. Inside the computers, there are many devices are present. And all these devices are present. There is a communication pathway present, which is connecting this two or more devices. So this is called the bus. Now, the major components. Now, what are the major components present in the computer? Like the processor, like the memory, like the input output devices. Means memory means main memory, or the processor, or the input output devices. All of these are the major components of a system. These are the major components of a system. Now, a particular bus that is connecting these major components is known as the system bus. So system bus is what? Bus is basically a communication pathway between the devices. And system bus is what? System bus is a bus which is connecting the major components in a system. The major components in a system, it is connecting. That means major components is what? The processor, the memory, input output devices, because this is the major components that is present on our system. So which this particular bus is connecting these major components is known as the system bus. Now the system bus is what? System bus typically contains about 50 to 100 separate lines. That means a bus consists of separate lines. Bus consists of separate lines, and this particular each line. So if maybe there is a 50 to 100 separate line present, and this 50 to 100 separate lines, each line assigns some function. This each line is assigned some function. This each line assigns some function. So a system bus consists of what? A system bus, we can say from here that a system bus consists of a set of bus lines. That means these lines 50 to 100, each lines, and each lines has some function. And this each line is what? This each line is the set of bus line. So the system bus consists of the set of bus line, and a single line we can call it as the bus. So that means system bus consists of a total, these lines we called as the bus. So that means system bus is collection of a buses. We can say the system bus is the collection of buses. So this is the concept of the bus. So it is clear to everyone what is bus, what is the system bus? It is clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Clear? Okay. So basically is what? Basically, so remember that basically bus is a communication pathway. It is the communication pathway between the devices, and system bus is what? It is the particular bus that is connecting the major components in a system. The major components is what? The major components is our processor, memory, input, output devices. And this consists of our system bus is consist of a total lines, and each lines assign some function, and this each line we call the bus. Okay, so this system bus is usually separated into three functional groups. Now I have said that each line assigns some function. That means what? That means system bus usually separate into three functional groups, and those are what? The system bus is the, we have already said that each line assigns some function. So that means what? System bus has a functional group present. A system bus has some functional group present. And those are what? Is total separated into three functional groups. And they are the data bus, then address bus, and another one is the control bus. Now, system bus is what? It is the collection of, we can also say that it is the collection of data bus, address bus, and the control bus. Now, what are the functions of these buses? That data bus, then address bus, then control bus. So data bus is what? Data bus, it is used to hold the data. Data bus is basically used to hold the data. Whatever the data the processor has to work on, and the processor has going to be stored or sent to the memory and input output devices. In this data bus, it is present. That means it works on the data. It works on the data, and whatever the data, it is working over the data, and this data, whatever the data the processor has to work on, and the processor has going to be stored, or it has to be sent to the memory or input output devices, are present in the data bus. So data bus basically, what we can say from the name suggests, it works over the data. Okay, then address bus, now from the name you can say that it works on the address, but what it does, it indicates from where we have to get the data. That means the location of the data. It indicates from where we have to get the data, from which location we have to get the data, and from where we have to put the data. Means, let's say it works over the address. That means it indicates from where, from the position, from the location, we can get the data, or the data can be stored in that location, or the data can be stored in that position. It specifies this bus indicates. This bus indicates that. That means it indicates from where we have to get the data and from where we have to put the data. And what does the control bus do? The control bus monitor this data bus and address bus. Its function is simple, that it monitors the data and the address bus. Mainly, it is used to monitor the system. So these three types of bus are present in our system total, and the collection of these three buses we call it a system bus. So system bus can be divided into these three types. These three types are the data bus, address bus, and control bus. Data bus works over the data, that where we have to store the data or for where we have to fetch the data, and the processor has to be stored, then send them to where this memory or IO devices we have to send that data. It works over that. Address bus, that from which location we have to fetch the data or from where we have to put the data, it works over that. And control bus is the total monitoring of the data bus and address bus. Okay, so these are the three types of bus. So now through a diagram, it will be clear to you that what I am saying, that if you see in this diagram, if you see that this is all like this, a system bus is present. Now we have said that system bus is the collection of data bus, address bus, and control bus. That's why you see this in this system bus, there is three separate lines present, and each separate line specifies a bus. This line specifies the bus. So the system bus has the collection of data bus, address bus, and control bus. So it is the collection, and in this collection, it specifies the system bus. Now, what I have said that the major components of a system, the system bus does what? It connects the major components of a system. So major components, you see, the major components of a system are present. That is CPU, then memory, then input output devices. These are what? These are the major components that is present in a system. So CPU consists of what? You can say CPU, that means in CPU, ALU, that is arithmetic logic unit present, the register is present, and the CU, that means control unit. So CPU is the collection, all these things are present inside the CPU, that is arithmetic logic unit, register, then control unit. All of these are present in the CPU. So the major components of the devices, you see, the CPU, memory, and input output devices are connected with the system with the help of the system bus. And the system bus is what? The system bus is the collection of data bus, address bus, and control bus. So that's why you see these three separate lines. Now you see that the CPU is connected with the data bus. CPU is connected with the data bus, and it has arrow in both sides. You see, it has arrow in both sides. Now the arrow in both sides means it is the bidirectional. Arrow in both sides means it is the bidirectional. Now data bus is bidirectional because the data has to be sent from the CPU to other devices, so other devices to the CPU, or from CPU to other devices. That means the data, it may happen that the, let's say that the data that can be from CPU to the other devices, it can go, or from CPU or from other devices to the CPU, the data can go. So that's why, and this will go through the data bus. So that's why you see the two sides of arrow, because it is the bidirectional, because the data that is sent from the other devices to the CPU or from CPU to the other devices. So that's why it is the bidirectional. But the address bus, when it connects with the address bus, you see that it is the unidirectional, because one side of the arrow is present. So that means it is the unidirectional. Address bus is the unidirectional. That means in one way, it can communicate in the one way. But the control bus The control bus, you see, the control bus is bidirectional. The control bus is bidirectional. Same as for memory also. For memory also, an address bus, it is the unidirectional. Address bus, it is the unidirectional, and the control bus is what? And the control bus is the bidirectional. So here that means from unidirectional it is the one way, and if it is bidirectional that means it is the two way. Okay, so this is the structure. This is the structure how it works. Okay, clear till now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is how the major components of a system are connected with the system bus. And in this system bus is what? In this system bus, the system bus is a collection of data bus, address bus, and the control bus. So these are connected like that. Okay. Now, what the data bus do? Now we will see what the data bus actually do. Now, data bus carries the data from one device to another device. So the working of a data bus is what? The working of the data bus, it carries the data. So the data that whatever is present, it carries that data from one device to the another device. So data bus specifically carries the data from one device to the another device. And now I have said that system bus is the collection of data bus. That means in the system bus, 50 to 100 separate lines should be present. Same as that, inside the data bus also, there may be separate lines are present. So same as that, for system bus, 50 to 100 separate lines are present. Same as that, inside the data bus also, the separate lines are present. Now, how many separate lines can be present? Now, the separate lines can be 8, maybe it is 32, maybe 64, maybe 128, and more separate lines. It may be more separate lines. And the number of lines, the number of lines referred as the width of the data bus. And each line carries the one bit. So that means what? That means, let's say, our data bus. In this data bus, 8 separate lines are present. You see, in this data bus, it consists 8 separate lines. So total 8 separate lines. Let's say it consists of 8 separate lines, and each separate lines contains one bit. Each separate lines contains one bit. So that means what? We can say that our data bus, the width of our data bus is the 8 bit. That this is called the width of the data bus. That means in this data, inside this data bus, let's say 8 lines are present. 8 lines are present inside the data bus, and each line contains one bit. Each line contains one bit. So that means what? Total, how many bit will be present? 8 bit. So we can say the width of the data bus will be the 8 bit. Let's say if there is 32. 32 means, let's say 32 separate lines are present inside the data bus. 32 separate lines will be present, and each separate lines contain one bit. So that means total will be the 32 bit. So total 32 bit means what? The width of the data bus will be 32 bit. Okay. So this is the data bus. So number of lines referred as the width of the data bus. So data bus width can be determined by the number of lines present inside. That is called the width of the data bus. Same as that for address of the data bus. So address bus will be what? For the address bus case. Now address bus is what? It is the collection of wires used to identify particular location in a main memory. So this address bus is what? It is a collection of wires. Means the wires, it is a collection of wires. Now, what purpose it is used? It is used to identify the particular location. The particular location in the main memory, it is used. Now, what it will do? It will identify the source or the destination or our destination address. Okay, so it will specify the or our destination address. Okay, so this is what, this is our source or destination data. And the bus width, and the bus width here in data bus, we have already seen, in the data bus we have already seen that the width of the data bus is what? The number of lines, the total number of lines refer to the width of the data bus. Now in case of address bus width is determined, address bus width is determined with the help of the maximum memory, with help of the maximum memory capacity of a system. It determines the maximum memory capacity of a system. Here, width of the data bus we can know from number of lines inside the data bus. And for address bus, the address bus width is determined by the maximum memory capacity of a system. The maximum memory capacity, through the maximum memory capacity of a system, we know the address bus width. Address bus width is known. And so example is what? Let's say 8080 microprocessor, the microprocessor, and it has 16-bit, let's say 16-bit address bus, 16-bit address bus. And this 16-bit address bus is giving 64K address space. So this is the example. But always remember that the maximum memory capacity, width of the address bus, determine the width of the address bus by the maximum memory capacity. Whereas for the data bus, the width is determined by the number of lines present. This is the difference between the address bus and the data bus. And for the control bus, what is used for the control bus? For control bus, it regulates the activity. Now, what control bus performs? Control bus, it regulates the activity on a bus. It regulates the activity on the bus. Now, what that means? That means when to read the data. Let's say when to read the data, when to put the data on the data bus, when to read the address of the memory location, or based on the address of the memory location, what data is to be put on the data bus. It regulates this type of activities. So that means what? It regulates the activity on a bus, because system bus, control bus does what? It monitor the data bus and the address bus. That means what activity it will do? That, let's say, when to read the data, for when to put the data on the data bus, or when to read the address of the memory location, and based on the address of the memory location, what data is to be put on the data bus. Like this performance or the activities like this, it will be done by the control bus. And control bus do what? It always control and timing information related to the bus. That means this control bus, it will carry a signal. This control bus will carry a signal, and this signal is what? It carries the signal. So what signal it carries? This signal is what? The status of the various devices present. The status of the various devices present in our system. That status signal is carried by the control bus. That the device, let's say the device that is ready or not, or the device is sending any data, like that. So there we can say there are total 4 operations present. One is memory read. One is total 4 operations are present. Memory read, then memory write, then memory write, then IO read, IO read, and IO write. So total we have these 4 operations present. This total 4 operations is present. So whatever these 4 operations are, the total 4 operations are memory read, memory write, IO read, IO write. Now, what is the memory read? What is the memory read? Memory read specifies it causes the data from address location to be placed on the data bus. That means it causes, this causes, memory read causes what? That the data, that whatever the data is present, data in the address bus, data that is present in the address bus to be placed on the data bus. This memory read does that. That the data that is present in the address location, means there is an address present in the memory, there is an address, and this address or data is stored. This data to be placed on the data bus, this is performed by the memory read. And the memory write is what? The memory write is just the opposite. Just that opposite. That just the opposite means what? That the data is present and this data should be placed on the address location of the memory. So memory read is what? Memory read is that the data present in the address location and this data has to be put in the data bus. Whereas memory write is what? That the data that is present is to be placed on the address location of the memory. So this is just the opposite. Memory read, opposite is the memory write. Okay. So from here, you can say what is IO read? From here, you can say the IO read. IO read is what? IO read means that the from address location, we can say from address location or the address IO ports and to be placed on the bus from data from the address location to be placed on the IO ports on the bus. And IO write is what? IO write is basically data that is present in the data on the bus to be output to the address of the IO ports. Just the opposite. So memory read opposite function is the memory write and IO read opposite is the IO write.
UGC net,
IO write.
UGC net किसका किसका होता है?
It is clear.
कंप्यूटर का भी वो लोग को भी होता है.
Jai Prakash, please mute yourself. It is clear to everyone. Anyone has any question till now? Anyone?
No,
No, sir.
sir.
It is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is basically the 4 operations: memory read, memory write, IO read, and IO write. All of these operations. So these are the operations, that is total 4 operations are present. So now our total, if we see, there is the our total traditional bus system. So Now we will move to the our bus transfer. So already the details knowledge of the bus we have already seen. So now the bus transfer, we will see what is the bus transfer. So basically in our computer there are several registers present. In our computer there are several registers present. So like this several registers are present. Now suppose there is no bus is present. Suppose there is no bus is present. Then each register communicated with other register to the control lines. Means bus is what? Bus is present so that the communication is possible. But we have seen that bus is basically the communication pathway between the devices. Now let's say the bus is not present. So if the bus is not present in a system, then what we will do? Let's say the registers wants to communicate, several registers will be present in a system. So several registers, if the several registers are present and they wants to communicate with each other and there is no bus present, then how they will communicate? They will communicate with the help of the control lines. Now there is a disadvantage of it, because if we uses it communicates through the control lines, then the number of words will be increased. Means the number of words will be increased, because in separate case, like if there is a one total, we have seen that there is 3 bus present: data bus, control bus and address bus. Now this may be happen if there is no bus present. That means from R1 to R2, let's say there is 4 register are present. There is total 4 register are present, and between them there is no bus or no bus communication is present. That means through each register there will be a line present. There will be control lines present to communicate from R1 to R2. There will be the communication from R2 to R3, from R1 to R4. That means if R1 has to communicate to R2 through this line, from R1 to R3 this line, from R1 to R4, this control lines it will used. But if there is a bus present, then there will be a single line, and in this all the registers, let's say R1, R2, R3 and R4, this total all the registers will be attached to the system bus. All the registers will be attached to the system bus. So let's say R1 has to communicate with R3, then the data will go to the bus, and this bus will transfer the data to the R3. Through this bus the data will travel through R3. But here also from R1 to R3 it has to take this communication. Now for R1 to R4, if it wants to communicate, then the data has to be traveled through this system bus and it will go to the R4. But in this you see a separate control lines we have to use. So that means if there is no bus present, then the number of control lines will be increased, and control lines will be increased means what? The number of words will be increased and the cost will be increased. But if the buses is present, then you see only through a single line. Through a single line you see, through a single bus, and in this bus all the registers are connected. So that means through this system bus they will communicate with each other. So that's why there is one centralized set of circuit for data transfer, and that is the bus present. So this is the, you already remember that this is the disadvantage of the control lines if we use the control lines, and this is the advantage of the our bus architecture. This is the advantage of the bus architecture. So in bus architecture the number of words will not increase, because all the registers or all the devices that are connected to the bus, and through the bus they will communicate with each other. But if there is a not bus present, that means for communication with each devices control lines will be present. So that means number of words will be increased. So this is the disadvantage of the using the control lines and the advantage of the using bus architecture. Now it have control circuit to select which source is the register, which source is the register is the source, and which is the destination. That means that the control circuits will be present to select that which register is the source and which is the destination. That means in this circuit a logic will be present that what is the source and what is the destination to identify that. And here we use because bus is a path over which information is transferred from any several source to any of the several destination. So this is what our bus architecture say. So that means you see total registers are there, total R1, R2, R3, 3 registers are present and they are connected with the bus. So that means R1, if R1 wants to communicate with R3, so it will send the data to the bus and this bus will transfer the data towards R3. So how there is a present, there is a in RTL language that we can say the register transfer language. So if we write this in register transfer language, you can see in register transfer language, it is written like this, that from R1, the data is transferred to bus. That means if the communication between R1 and R3. So that means from R1, the data will go to the bus and from bus, the data will go to the R3. So this is the register transfer language. We can write like this in register transfer language. Okay. Clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Anyone has? Okay. So today is not so much time, but in next class, we will see the traditional bus system, that what the architecture is present, that the bus architecture we will see in the next class, that how the processor is connected to the cache using the bus, then main memory is connected. So the total traditional bus system we will see in the next class. Okay, so thank you everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.